Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Family Storytime. Everybody found their seat? There we go. Crisscross applesauce. Turn our listening ears on. All righty, let's begin with our hello song. Here we go. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. It's time to say hello. Alrighty, so today we are going to do some fun stories for you called Fractured Fairy Tales. So I'm sure you've all heard a few fairy tales. These have a special twist to them, and these are some of my favorite that I'm going to share with you. So be sure to be getting your summer reading boards in. I hope you've all been reading, and these stories can count towards your reading time if you'd like. And you can track your hours of minutes read, and then you can get your prizes. Also, don't forget to request your kit to go so that you can come and pick up an activity for you to work on. This week's kit to go are clothespin creatures. So you can come in and get a kit for those to make your own fun little creature. Alrighty, friends, let's begin. So my first fun fractured fairy tale is called La Princesa and the Pea. There once was a prince who wanted a wife, but not any niña would do in his life. His madre was picky. She hoped for perfection. The prince was so lonely, in need of affection. But here came a maiden en route to her castle. I hope I can stay here if it's not a hassle. She winked at the prince, who fell for her fast. No matter what mom does, I'll marry this lass. The prince said, come in. But his mother, La Reina, decided to test her. Would this girl be buena? Mama sneaked away to the royal jardin and found a small pea that was fit for a queen. She guarded the pea pod and took to the stair. If this girl is worthy, she'll feel that it's there. She placed El Guisante in the bed for their guest. She yelled, 20 mattresses! Lofty request. The queen settled in with her box of bonbons, while lots of strong workers came in with cachones. Uno was suave, dos was pequeño, tres was muy grande, cuatro un sueño. Several were pinstriped, some made of fleece. Others were dotted or checkered or gris. The queen ate her treats. The bed was stacked high, and right when they finished, La Niña came by. Here is your cama, a place you can sleep. Thanks, said the girl. I won't even count sheep. Meanwhile, El Príncipe practiced I-do's. He knew that this maiden was one he should choose. I like her, Mama, he said with a lilt. We'll see, said the queen as she fluffed up his quilt. The girl stretched her brazos and yawned with her boca. But the bed felt so lumpy, like there was a roca. The little guisante was 20 times deep. Could it be the reason the girl got no sleep? She trudged down to breakfast, her ojos so drowsy. And how was your slumber? La Reina was snoopy. Great, said the girl, if you like hard and lumpy. Oh, pobrecita, said the prince said. You're grumpy. The guest brightened up as she noticed the lad. Really, she murmured, it wasn't that bad. I, thought La Reina, how'd she detect it? Is she a real princess? I think I suspect it. She signaled her son that the girl passed the test. Drat! She had managed to stave off the rest. prince soon proposed with a golden anillo. They married that week in the royal castillo. The queen kept her promise and threw a big boda. The bride wore a wedding gown stylish de moda. Excepto, they both said, I do. And still to this day, the queen has no clue. The prince had put pitchforks and stones in La Cama to help his true love pass the test of Queen Mama. The prince and his bride had hijos galore, one for each mattress, and then had no more. The end. Fun little fractured fairy tale. Okay, so the next one that we're going to do is a digital one, so I will share it with you. This one is called The Sword. I actually forgot the title. Let me get the Sunflower Sword. There we go. Alrighty, let's begin. Once there was a land filled with fire and smoke and endless fighting, where knights fought dragons and dragons fought knights, and that was the way it had always been. In this land, there lived a knight who wanted to be big like the other knights and fight like the other knights and have a sword like the other knights. But his mother said he couldn't. Why do you want a sword? She asked. To whoosh and swoosh in the air, smiled the little knight. Said his mother, and she hurried off to find a sunflower. Well, sighed the little knight, I suppose I could pretend it's a sword. Then he whooshed and swooshed it, just to see how well it whooshed and swooshed. It whooshed and swooshed very well. But, said the little knight, it won't be any good for fighting dragons. No, sighed his mother, I don't suppose it will, but keep it anyway. So the little knight trundled up Dragon Hill, a place where only the biggest, bravest knights ever went. He played happily all day. The sunflower sword swung this way and that, and slew not one, not two, but 3 imaginary dragons. Suddenly, the air crackled with heat. Smoke billowed all around. And there stood something full of fire and flame and a fight to be fought. A real dragon! The little knight had no choice. It was too late to run, so he whooshed and he swooshed the sunflower sword. It cut through the air like a fine silver blade. But suddenly, as it swung near him, the dragon saw what it was and reached out to take it. Could it be, thought the dragon? Has this little knight climbed to the top of Dragon Hill to offer me a flower? Could it be, thought the little knight, a dragon may not be so fearsome after all? Then the little knight and the dragon looked at each other and both began to smile. So that's how it happened, as simply as that. From then on, they met each day on Dragon Hill and played much better games than fighting. Soon the news spread far and wide of how an enemy could become a friend and how the land might become a peaceful place. One by one, the knights laid down their swords, climbed to the top of Dragon Hill, and waited, while the little knight's mother looked on and smiled. The end. Alrighty, friends, ready for our last story? So the final one is a take on Humpty Dumpty, and this one is called After the Fall. This is a feel-good story, so I wanted to leave this one with you for the last one. After the fall, how Humpty Dumpty got back up again. My name is Humpty Dumpty. This was my favorite spot, high up on the wall. I know it's an odd place for an egg to be, but I loved being close to the birds. Then one day, I fell. I'm sort of famous for that part. Folks called it the Great Fall, which sounds a little grand. It was just an accident, but it changed my life. Fortunately, all the king's men managed to put me together again. There were, well, most of me. There were some parts that couldn't be healed with bandages and glue. After that day, I became afraid of heights. I was so scared that it kept me from enjoying some of my favorite things. I walked past the wall every day and would think about climbing that ladder. I really missed the birds and being high above the city, but I could never do it because I knew that accidents can happen. I eventually settled for watching the birds from the ground. It wasn't the same, but it was better than nothing. Then one day, an idea flew by. Making planes was harder than I thought. It was easy to get cuts and scratches, but day after day, I kept trying and trying until I got it just right. My plane was perfect and it flew like nothing could stop it. I hadn't felt that happy in a long time. It wasn't the same as being up in the sky with the birds, but it was close enough. Unfortunately, accidents happen. They always do. The bird flew over the wall or the plane. I almost walked away again. But then I thought about all the time I'd spent working on my plane and all the other things I'd missed. I decided I was going to climb that wall. But the higher I got, the more nervous I got. I didn't want to admit it. I was terrified. I didn't look up. I didn't look down. I just kept climbing one step at a time until I was no longer afraid. Maybe now you won't think of me as that egg who was famous for falling. Uh-oh, he's cracking. Do you see the feathers? Hopefully you'll remember me as the egg who got back up. What happened? And learned how to fly. The end. Beautiful story. All right, my friends, thanks for joining me today. Let's go ahead and do our goodbye song. Here we go. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. It's time to say goodbye. Thanks again for joining us. Don't forget to continue reading and logging your minutes read, and make sure to stop and pick up a kit to go and any of your prize books that you have earned. Take care, friends. Stay safe, happy, and healthy, and we will see you next week.